Okay, year 10s, here we go. Here is some sort of short presentation really on some of the chapter 2 work. We'd already gone through the beginning of chapter 2 before you got on your extended leave, where we looked at substituting into formulae. Okay, here's the link down the bottom for the little video that we watched from YouTube. Hopefully that will remind you of what we looked at, and should cover pretty much exercise 2A and 2B. Calculating with squares, just one thing to be careful with. If you put in -2, or so let's try -3 squared into your calculator, the answer that will come up be -9. Well, you might think that's right. Hopefully you don't think that's right. If you do, you need to think about it a little bit harder and think, well, if I square -3, what do I get? Well, I'll get -3 times -3, which should give us +9. So why does the calculator give us this? Well, part of it is because of the language that we use. We tend to say -3 squared. Well, it is actually answering -3 squared is -9. Well, we can argue that to be true. Our language should be a bit more precise, and we should say it's the square of -3, which means in our calculator we would put the -3 in brackets squared, so we can make sure that we get the correct answer. Just something that you should be aware of, particularly with your calculator work and with the amount of calculator work this is going to use. Okay. Now, I just want to move on. I'm going to leave. There's a bit of work on exercise 2C, which is to do with indices. You should check back to your work on chapter 1 indices. It's only the simple indices work, not the complicated stuff. So just have a go through that. What I want to look at is expanding brackets. This is the work which leads up to exercise 2D. Now, let's take an example. If I've got 3 times 2n plus 6, okay, and I ask you to multiply it out, what's it going to go to? I'll have a think. See what you think the answer is. Now, to actually work this out, what we've got to remember is that everything inside the bracket must be multiplied by everything outside the bracket. So that means we've got to multiply the 2n here by 3 and the 6 by 3. So we should get 6n plus 18. So notice how I've multiplied the 3 times 2n in there, and the 3 times 6. Okay, well, let's try another one. 4 bracket 3n minus 8. Well, some people get a bit confused with this type because it's got a negative in. Why? I don't know. Seems a bit silly to me, because it should just be the same as the one above. 12n minus 32. See, the sign in the bracket is going to remain. Even slightly more complicated, 4n times 2n minus 5. Well, it shouldn't be too many problems, particularly if you're fine with the exercise 2C. 4n times 2n will give us 8n squared minus 20n. Now some of you, if you thought about it, thought probably would have gone 6n squared, or maybe even 12n. No, you can't do that. You must remember that in the first instance what we're asked to do is multiply 4n and n, and 2n's rather. Well, if I rearrange that, because it's all multiplying, 4n means 4 times n, space between that so we know it's, and the 2 times n is there, and so if I rearrange that, I can rearrange that like this: 4 times 2 times n, which is then going to give me 18 squared. Hopefully that's okay. Draw a little line around there, and that's the work that you need to be able to do. Now there are some special cases, not particularly special cases, but students tend to get them wrong. Let's have a look. Minus 2 times 6p plus 1. Okay, now what we need to do here is look, this is going to be equal to, you can try this at home, have a quick go, press pause now and come back in a minute. Okay, you're back. Minus 12p minus 2. Okay, notice how we've multiplied 6 and minus 2 together, and minus 2 and plus 1. One of the other more advanced ones, I suppose, is if we have something like this: minus 3x minus 2 equals. Now, this will become very important later on, but at the moment, let's just try and multiply it out. People think, oh, what am I multiplying by? What am I multiplying by? Oh, this is really difficult. But it's not too bad. We can still do this, can't we, Laura? Now, let's just try it. The thing about this is there is actually a number behind it. It's negative 1. So if we remember that to be true, we'll be okay. So when I multiply this out, I should get negative 3x minus 1 times minus 2 is positive 2. Sorry. Now this comes in particularly useful when we look at something a bit more complicated, where we put a string of things together. So what I'll do is I'm just going to come down here so I can get enough space to make sure that we can do all of this in one go. So let's try an equation. 3x minus 4 minus 2x plus 8 minus 3 take x. Now the question is here is, can we reorganize this, multiply everything out, and then put everything back in simple order? So the first one should be easy. Yep, that's right. 3x minus 12, well done. And the next bracket, don't forget about the negative. Very good. Negative 2x take 16. And the final bracket, don't forget the negative. Don't forget 2 negatives make a positive. So we get minus 3 plus x. Okay. So now we just need to simplify this, collect terms together. Well, if I look here, I've got 3x, take 2x, which is 1x, plus x, which is going to give me 2x, minus 12, minus 16, which is negative 28, minus 3, negative 31. Okay? hopefully that should be alright. Okay, so that's really expanding brackets, and we'll finish this there.